Look at this. I'm back with another banger of a video. Okay, so today we're going to watch how we're going to start off with this one. This is just a little section, okay? Swear fucking Destiny, Mr. Uh I'm just so reasonable Destiny gives a freaking idiotic, so stupid take about like all Republicans. He says all, not Republicans, Trump supporters, all Trump supporters. And I'm a Trump supporter. So let's see what this, well, I already know what this idiot has to say, but let's go. Let's see.
Party. He's the nominee by a clear mile. I get. Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by vilify. How could I describe Trump in a way that wouldn't be vilifying
Well, no.
him
So
or the
you can.
people?
So I think you can try to understand why, even if you disagree with Trump and everything about him, you can try to understand why you think it is that he appeals to people and why people are voting for him. But when all you do is you just say like, oh, he's all these, he's an evil right wing authoritarian fascist racist, and therefore, if that's where you end the statement.
Right, and that wouldn't make any sense. Like how you gotta be so much in your bubble and talk to no one else except for like probably like one or two people that think that everyone who votes for Trump voted for him just because they're just voting for him. It's fucking stupid. You have no idea why people voted for this man.
It's going
Yeah,
to
but
lead
I don't
people to
think
believe, oh,
nobody here is advocating for that, right? I think we all think that like
well,
it's
I
just
don't,
a
Correct.
well,
stance
I
of
don't know.
political
Is that
critique, right?
what is Pondering advocating for? I guess.
Well. So again, I think is a so to me there are like I guess if I wanted to get really reductive, I can just easily conceive of two types of quote unquote Republican voters. So you have people who I would consider just conservative, right? So they just believe in, robust Second Amendment rights. They believe that life begins at conception. So they're pro life. They're, pro freedom of speech, yada, yada. They probably grew up in a red, rural, conservative environment. Their parents, grandparents, and so on and so forth, all Republican.
See that? How they said he's saying all that. I ain't grow up in no um rural area or any of that. I ain't even grew up in a conservative household. I ain't even grew up in a freaking political household. So like these guys got such a freaking weird ass a person in their mind when they think about a fucking conservative or Republican. Yeah, it's so weird.
All conservative. And so they would just vote for whoever the nominee is, whoever the Republican is. So I would just, that to me is a generic Republican voter. Then I think you have a subset that I would consider part of Cult 45, the MAGA cult, which it really, if it's Trump versus the GOP.
I like that. Coke 45. I like that. Hey, we going to make some t-shirts with that one. I'm gonna make a t-shirt with that. Coke 45. Hey, I'm selling this man. That shit's dope. That's pretty dope.
They'll side with Trump. That, the election was stolen from Trump. He was justified in pursuing every available option to try to overturn.
He was justified because what do you mean? Like like if you don't believe he was justified or like he had the right to, then you're just a fucking idiot because he does have the right to. Like anyone who runs for election has the right to uh like like exhaust every means possible, any means, every legal means possible to make sure that the election was legit. Like everyone has that right. Everyone that runs for election has that right.
The results. It was fine to try to litigate his way into a second term.
It is fine to litigate if it's legal. You can do that. Like, what are you talking about? You can do that. I think Stacey Abrams is still trying to litigate herself into a win.
If violence is necessary to reclaim the country, then
No one says that. No one says if violence is necessary, you can reclaim the country. Unless it's like you like and this is such a hard thing to do because if you think that the election was rigged or something and if it legit it literally was rigged, the people who rigged it are going to tell you that it wasn't rigged. So if these people like it's not like you can just be like, oh, it's rigged and the government's going to be like, yeah, we did rig it. Like a tyrannical government is not going to say they're tyrannical, right? So like it's a hard balance you got to go through.
so be it. Yada. That is a different type of Republican. I think one is eminently more relatable than the other. I think one is more dangerous than the other. And then I think you have Republican politicians and conservative thought leaders as a separate category who are the most morally culpable and the most deserving of criticism and harsh rebuke. I don't think if so, like that's why I'm asking. Like you asked the question, like, is it possible to vilify Trump? And maybe vilify is using the wrong word here, but I'm trying. How can I criticize Trump? How can I call Trump for what he is in a way that, to your satisfaction, would not cast aspersions on those who vote for him?
I think you can
Just criticize his policies or what he says. You don't criticize the people. Hey, Trump did bad thing. Or hey, Trump said this thing. Trump did this. His voters didn't do anything. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? That's how you criticize somebody without vilifying them. Like, I mean, vilifying the people who didn't do what he did. Like, what are you talking about? So easy.
criticize all the policies, all the things that you think are
There it
dangerous.
is.
And I think if you or anyone, if Pac-Man or Hassan or any of these people would explain and understand why and how people on the right are motivated to vote for the things that they vote for, and the answer is not just racism or something negative, and understand where right-wing moral principles come from and where the moral foundations that make up the conservative movement in America. If
To be, I'm about to do something stupid. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this debate. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I could have just did that, played the video.
they were to understand any of this, but they don't, and explain any of this, but they don't, then then I don't think we'd be where we are. But I think if all you do is you sit there and you vilify right-wing politicians, then you're obviously going to say, well, oh, the people that vote for them obviously support, these policies, these racist, horrible policies.
Right? I don't think I'm not entirely sure. And Stephen, feel free to jump in any time. I'm not entirely sure that tracks because I don't think Republicans, even as a party, are particularly like policy motivated these days. Number one. Number two.
What? What? This is what I'm saying. Like, these people are always like, I don't know who they are thinking about when they think about a Republican or like Republican voters. Like, these people just think that we're all fucking retarded or some shit. Oh, well, that's what Destiny said. So, shit, goddamn.
You said, if you attack his policies, what if I wanted to attack his character? What if I
No, you
wanted
can
to
attack his character. You can
like,
attack
we
his
talking about?
person, his character, his policies, whatever. That's not what I'm saying.
How on earth can you attack somebody's character, person, and policies without it feeling like you're demonizing or vilifying them?
Yeah, that's what
Are you that?
No.
Wait. All right, maybe he misheard what Sitch said because
No. You can vilify and talk about these politicians all you want. Okay.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is that if all you do is talk about how all these politicians on one side, if all you do is talk about all the politicians on the right are racist, or all you do is talk about how the politicians on the left are socialist groomers, okay, and you don't actually explore why it is that left-wing voters are voting for who they vote for, or why right-wing voters are voting for who they vote for, obviously you're going to be saying that the people voting for them are in favor of either racism or grooming, right? I mean, you would acknowledge that, like, when someone on the right talks about how all these left-wing politicians are groomers, what does that say about the people voting for those politicians?
I suppose you could read an implication there that the supporters are
You
themselves.
suppose? I mean,
Well, I'm just
know.
well, I'm just imagining. I don't know of any commentator who does this anywhere that when they offer a critique of a particular politician, they follow it up with an equal amount of time devoted to why these supporters
It doesn't have to be so
Bosch
like
does it.
it doesn't have to be this equal, like, I have a chart.
So like,
for
okay, well,
everything has to be perfectly balanced. All I'm saying is that if all you cover is these are right-wing politicians, they're all bad, they're all racist, or if all you do is cover left-wing politicians and say, wait, let me just finish. Let me just finish. If you cover,
why do we keep doing this?
because
Literally no one
Destiny, you keep saying you don't disagree with it, and I feel like you don't, but Pondering does. He does not share your opinion.
Wait, Pondering, do you think that we should call all conservatives like racist and
No.
That's not no. That's not the argument. Pondering asked how.
Wait, Destiny said he just doesn't agree with that, but then he goes on to fucking do it. Like, what are you talking about? What?
How can you? He said, are these people, are Hassan and Dave Pac-Man and Vosh, really vilifying the voter base, or are they only vilifying the politicians? And I'm saying, if all you do is talk about how these politicians are evil all day, obviously that's going to have implications in the viewer's mind about the people voting for them. Would you agree or disagree with that, Destiny?
If you vilify the politicians all day, does it make the people think that you don't like the people themselves?
That are voting for the politicians.
Oh.
It really is going to come down to the word vilify. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting here. What do you mean by vilify?
If you're going to say all these Republican politicians
Are
are racist
racist.
authoritarians, or all these left-wing politicians are socialist groomers,
Rumors.
and that's all, and that's like the primary focus of your channel, is that not going to lead the audiences watching these channels to think?
I don't get how this is so hard. If you say, hey, this person's a groomer or a racist, and the people who are voting for him, you're saying making it seem like everybody agrees with you that this person is a groomer or racist. So the voters are only voting for these people. I mean, the voters are voting for these people knowing that they are groomers or racist. So you're basically calling the voters, saying that the voters like racists or groomers. That's what he said. That's what Sitch is saying. It's not fucking hard.
Well, the people voting for these politicians must support the racism, or they must support the grooming.
Well, yeah,
I mean, to some
exactly.
extent, but like, you have fundamental disagreements with these other politicians. Of course, you're going to have fundamental disagreements with them.
A fundamental disagreement is not calling somebody a racist or a groomer. That's not just a disagreement. You're giving them a label. Like, what are you talking about? If I say, hey, that guy over there is a pedophile, or hey, that guy over there is a rapist or some shit, that's not just disagreeing about like certain things. You're painting them with a negative label. Hey, you voted for a rapist. You voted for a pedophile. That's saying something about me as a voter. Like, what are you talking about?
Voter base as well. Like, there's not a way to get around that. Like,
Yes, it is.
Trump is a fascist. If you support him, you are supporting a fascist. Like, I'll
See?
try to explain that as
See, that's stupid.
empathetically as I can, but to water that down or to take away from that message is necessarily like devaluing or. I
Trump
guess this
is
is the
a
point of what I'm
fascist.
trying to say.
The
Like,
fuck?
it can't be that like when we go to the voting box, it can't be that like everybody's choice is equal and we can all do what we want to do and everybody loves each other. Like, you can be empathetic towards a person's position. I understand why you'd support a fascist.
Okay, so
it
you
makes sense,
disagree
but,
with Pondering. You think that they are vilifying the voters. You just think it's fine because you think that's the way
I
it
think
is.
we're getting hung up. What does the word vilify mean?
Well, I think if you're going to call everyone voting for Trump a fascist, to me,
No,
that'd
I
be
said they
vilifying.
support a fascist. Is that vilifying? If that's vilifying, then fine, I guess. But then all of politics is based around vilifying. Like, they're literal villains, right? Your political opponents, to some extent, are villains. They oppose you in your political process. They are the
It doesn't make them
antagonists to your
villains.
protagonists. Like, yeah, I mean,
That
you
doesn't
think that
make them
we're-
villains. That's
Do
so
you think the people
stupid. That's a
supporting Trump
dumbass
go
thing.
in and say, "I'm voting for this guy because he's a fascist"?
I think that's a separate
Wait,
question.
wait. No, do they do it because of that? No, but that's usually just because they're too uneducated to know what fascism is. If you were to describe fascism in other words, yeah, I think the majority, I think 90% of Trump's voter base. If you were to say,
But this nigga, all right, he's about to go over what he thinks is like fascistic things that Trump's doing and that Trump supporters agree with, and none of them are fascistic. Watch how this man is just so fucking stupid.
do you think it's really important that we have a really strong leader that sometimes takes the reins away from like the corrupt institutions of our government and takes the country in the direction that we really needed to go?
Well, do you think we have a strong leader that take the reins away from a corrupt system? Yes.
Because he knows what's right for this country? I think 90% of Trump voters plus would say yes.
If you don't think that, then you're stupid. If you don't think a corrupt if it's corrupt, hell yes.
Right? You could describe fascism in other words and they vote for him, but yeah, they're not going to say, I vote for a
I
fascist."
don't agree with that definition of even authoritarianism because you're not even saying like abolish the government except for the president, have the president be the sole source of power.
You don't
under
need
what
to
just laid
abolish
out.
the government. You can have a puppet government. You can have a government that technically functions, but the president is allowed to tell the vice president, "Hey, I need you to overrule the vote for the presidency." Or you can have a government that has institutions, but the president is allowed to fire and replace the heads of the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA anytime they do something he doesn't like. Right? You can.
Not anytime they do something he doesn't like, but he's the head of state. He's the fucking president. If he can do it, he can do it. That's within his right to do so. So what are you talking about? And if he thinks that, like you said, a corrupt government, if he thinks those heads of states are corrupt, or the leaders of those institutions are corrupt, then why wouldn't you want him to fire them? Like, that's so fucking stupid.
Also
have a
trying to
government, but they don't have a
expand that
government.
power too, as we
Yeah.
know that Trump is trying to
I
do.
think if
for
you were to ask
2024.
the average Trump voter and say, "Do you want an authoritarian government, or do you want Trump to be the sole source of power with no other branches of government?
No.
Really, I don't think most average Trump voters would be in favor of that.
No.
I think
The
you
ones
might
that
be
talk
able to
about-
phrase that. Yeah.
The ones that talk about abolishing all of the executive fucking departments, the ones that talk about how
No one says abolish all executive departments. Like, what are you talking about? Like the fucking ATF? The people who are actually trying to do some fascistic shit that they don't have to, like the people that says, hey, this is illegal now. They don't have any authority to make laws, and they said certain parts of guns are illegal now. Yes, about get rid of them motherfuckers because they're are overstepping. Like, what are you talking about?
corrupt Congresses, the ones that don't like, well, now they like the Supreme Court, but the ones that are all about like states' rights, whatever, I disagree. I think that if
The ones who are all about states' rights. Oh, so fascistic, fascistic. That's so fascist. To care about states' rights? What, you're a fascist?
you were to present in nice enough terms the idea of like an authoritarian leader, I think most, not Republicans, most Trump supporters would absolutely go for that. Absolutely.
I think you could phrase the question in such a sanitized way that would get more support, if not a majority support, a disturbing plurality. Yeah, depending on how you pitch it. Yeah, if you
No,
say,
I-
listen, should Trump be anointed God Emperor? Yeah, probably even most Trump supporters would be like, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Do you have
But
any
if you
evidence
phrase
of
it,
this?
Hey,
or
that's
you
no.
just-
That's
is
a
this
no.
just like on
It's just a no,
a gut
period.
intuition.
I would
think
say
it's an intuition based on literally the collective rhetoric, policies, and behaviors
So
of
it is a
Donald
gut
J. Trump.
intuition. Okay, thanks. I just
I
Well,
think-
hold on, wait.
no.
You
I
can
would
call
like
it
to
a
know.
gut
Look,
intu-
I
Wait,
think
hold on, no.
what
Stop.
you are
That
saying.
is such an unbelievably dishonest question. Wait, is that a gut intuition? Yeah, I don't have every single Trump voter in front of me, and there's not polling data saying, do you support a fascist? When we talk about the gut intuitions we form in politics, those are based by the behavior of the supporters, by the behavior of the politicians, by the policies they state, by the social positions they have, and by the behavior they exhibit in office.
It's
What is
still
the
a
behavior
gut
that Donald Trump
intuition.
exhibited in office? It was that of it. No, it's
It's
not
still
just
a
an
gut
intuition. It's an
intuition.
intuition the same way that if somebody points a gun at my face, I'm intuitively going to think he's going to shoot and kill me. So yeah, it's an
It's
intuition.
not the same.
But you're using
It's-
it.
look,
It is
it's
absolutely
one
the
person
same.
pointing a gun at you, and the entire electorate is a completely different situation. Okay?
Donald
It's
J.
like-
Trump pointed a gun at the United States and said, I am going to unilaterally overthrow our elections. It doesn't get much more serious than that.
When? Oh. This how you know this nigga is fucking delusional. He said Donald Trump pointed a gun at the government, said, "I'm going to get rid of the." No, he was in his right to challenge the fucking election. What are you talking about? This man just he thinks, oh, that's how it is. That's how it is. This man has no backbone. If it happens, it happens. That's his whole thing. If you feel something ain't right, oh well.
And he has widespread support from Republicans to do
Destiny-
it.
Destiny,
What is it,
why-
like 70% of Republicans now think that the election wasn't even legitimate?
Destiny,
yeah,
why?
it's back from like in the like upper 50s to low 60s. A year ago, it's back up to 70.
Look,
I wonder why that is. Like maybe it's all the freaking all the indictments and the impeachments and shit like that that's making Trump supporters like, why are they doing this now? Why don't they want why don't they want this man to run now? Because last time maybe he won last time, maybe. And they're just trying to like make it so he doesn't win again. That could be a thought process.
I would like some evidence. I'm just saying it's a gut intuition. Like maybe your intuition is correct. I would just like some.
Okay, what kind of
I
evidence
would
are
like.
you looking for
Look,
here?
we constantly debate this.
Wait, no,
too.
I want to answer that question. When you finish this, I want you to answer that question. What kind
Okay.
of evidence do you want?
Well, no, we debate all the time whether or not we're teetering on the edge of fascism. Look, I don't want to live in a. I don't want to live in a.
know what evidence you need.
Well, some sort of poll that asks him. I don't know. Like my intuition is, if you did a poll asking people, would you support Trump if he wanted to become dictator for life? I would like to think that a lot of Trump supporters would be like, no, I'm not in favor of that. I want him to have a second term. I don't want him to be dictator for life. You could be right, Destiny. Your intuition could be correct.
I don't think any. No, I ain't gonna say any. 99.9% Trump supporters would say, no, I don't want this man to be dictator for life. That's retarded. Because most of Trump supporters love America. They love the system of America. And the system isn't a dictatorship. It's not a dictatorship. So why would we want that? That's just stupid. Like, logically, that doesn't even follow. A person who loves America would not say, I want a dictator.
I would
Okay,
be
no, no, no. Okay, so
mortified by
here's- I
that,
understand
but
what
I
you're
would
saying.
like to look at a
Sure.
poll instead of just going on your
Okay,
intuition.
that's fine. I don't. Okay, so here's a question. If you were to poll the Republican Party, do you think the majority of them would be in favor of Trump pardoning himself from his own federal charges?
Depends on what charge. Depends on the charge.
Yes, of
Do you
course
think the
they
majority
would.
would be in favor of disbanding the investigations against him?
Of course.
Disbanding the investigations against him. The legit investigations, because some of them are fucking retarded. Like, I think on the indictment on one of the pages, he got like one of the evidences was him tweeting or something. Him tweeting about an event that was happening. They said that was him trying to take over the election because he tweeted, "Hey, this is going on right now."
Of course they would. Yes.
Do you think the majority of them supported him when he told Pence to overthrow the election?
He never told Pence to overthrow the election. He said Pence can do it, and it was like a legal iffiness if he could or could not. So if Trump believed that Pence could do it, like legally could do it, then it's copacetic. So like we don't know.
I don't think so. No.
Do you think the majority of them supported him when he said that the election was fraudulent? 70% I have data that shows that,
Yes.
right?
Yes, because there was a bunch of shit going around, like the whole Hunter Biden shit that they said that if the news would have came out with that information before the election, a bunch of people would have voted for Trump instead of voting for Biden. So like a lot of shady shit. And then it was like an article that said shit. There was a article that was talking about how they a bunch of people just got together to fucking fortify the election or whatever. I forgot what they said. It was some fucking news said how the media was collaborating to do shit to the election. I forgot what it is.
Like, yeah, I can't get you a polling data that shows that like they would support him being a fascist dictator, but they
But none of those things are fascistic, so they're still retarded.
supported everything else in everything but name. Everything but name.
Also, do you
It's-
think that
it's
Trump
a
himself?
giant-
He just asked this question: do you think any of those are fascistic? Does any of those things point to fascism?
Look, it's a giant difference to say to sign off on a poll saying I want Donald Trump to be the president for my lifetime. That's a completely different argument. But go ahead, pondering.
Do you? And you guys can just call me Josiah. By the way, it's my name. It's
Okay.
not Josiah, but Josiah. Yeah,
But
just do
before
that.
you go, I just wanted to let you guys know 10 more minutes and then we'll have closing statements. If you guys would like to go longer, I'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got another hour budgeted, so we can chat as far as I'm concerned, as long as you guys want.
I mean, this is a
But,
fascinating talk. So go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think that Trump himself? I was trying to find some evidence here, and it just kind of reminded me. Do you think Trump himself has a good handle on his base? Do you think he understands his base and the Republican Party? Like he's got a good reading of their temperature?
I think that's all Trump does.
Yeah.
He tries to listen to the base and react mostly.
So when he famously said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote, what do you think he meant by that?
It was a
It was
joke.
obviously a hyperbolic joke. I don't think he could
Yeah,
literally
like we
shoot
talked
someone.
about.
And it's completely different because if he is literally going to be president of the United States forever, that's much different than shooting someone on Fifth Avenue.
If you are this stupid where you think that Trump supporters really think that Trump can be a murderer, like broad daylight murderer, and his supporters would just stand behind him, you are fucking retarded. If you believe that, you are fucking retarded.
Wait, do you
Okay,
think
we
that's
are-
the most important part of like a dictatorial regime is that it's
Well,
just to be president for life?
Do you
I want to go
disagree
back.
that it's
Wait.
different?
We have to go back to the whole abolishing Congress and all this stuff because the difference here to me is that when you talk to people that are conservatives or Trump supporters that talk about getting rid of the Trump investigations or throwing out the deep state, the idea in their mind, that's my understanding of it, is not that they want to get rid of all these institutions because they want to have a monarchy. Okay, they're not, dark enlightenment.
Exactly. Want to get rid of them because they are fucking corrupt. Drain the swamp. Get some new people in there. Get some real good people in there. They could be fucking Democrat, Republican. Just make sure they're on the up and up. They're working for the people. They're working to make sure America stays fucking America. Don't just fucking get some people in there that's going to just have political agendas and shit. Like, of course, it's all politics, but like, and you want to do your own, you want a certain agenda, but make sure it's to make the country functioning correctly. Like,
Curtis Yarvin types. There's some of them, but they're a tiny minority. What their thought process is that these institutions are corrupt, that they
Yes.
view that the investigations into Trump are corrupt. Now, you can
Yes.
disagree with that, and we can disagree about the fact claims of that matter, but to me, that's where we get into this issue of like throwing the fascism labels, that they're not in favor of throwing all these things out to install Trump as a dictator at all. They're just trying to, in their minds, get rid of what they perceive as corruption.
Yeah, and,
So-
and to them, corruption is the state.
And wouldn't that apply to every person who's ever supported it?
corruption is some parts of the state, not all the state. What? This man, ugh. If this man was back in the day, he'd say it's fascist for America to go to war with Britain. That'd be like if George Washington was like, yeah, we need to fight against the British. He'd be like, oh, you can't fight against, you want to fight against the British? It's the state. What are you talking about? That's fascist. That's what this man would say.
Any
Also,
fascist in the
yeah,
history?
You're talking about every
No.
single fascist ever. Yeah, of course. I
Wait.
mean, like when you talk
Wait,
about
wait.
It's fascist to fight against a corrupt system. If you think it's corrupt or not, that's your prerogative. But he's saying it's fascist to fight against a corrupt system or a system that you believe is corrupt. To fight against that system, it's fascist. That's stupid. That's fucking stupid.
Wait,
want to
wait.
do
There
the
are,
World War II Hitler thing, but like every fascist says that the state is corrupt, there needs to be a strong leader.
In every revolution, that the people said the state is corrupt, and we need to fight against them. Like, what are you talking about? The colony said the British was corrupt. They fought against them. What was it? The French Revolution? They said the state is corrupt. They fought against them. Like, what are you talking about? Every good fight that was fought, the fight against actual like dictatorship or fucking or monarchy or some shit, so they can have a democratic government. Every one of them said the state was corrupt, and they were correct. It happens on both sides. Like, what are you talking about? You gotta be so fucking brain dead or so much in your bubble to just think one side. You're just thinking one end of the spectrum. It's fucking stupid.
You need to overthrow what came before it, and,
Yeah.
and they're the only ones that can lead you to freedom. Like this is
If-
every single fascist
okay.
ever.
wait.
If somebody
if you-
said in the 30s, "Hey, this guy's going to
Wait, wait,
genocide
okay, wait,
12
hold-
million
let-
people
let's
and do all this,"
respond. Let Sitch respond.
Okay. Yes, obviously, and that's the danger of these sorts of movements and these sorts of rhetoric is that it can lead you down that pathway because people sense this corruption, which is either real to them or you would disagree with it being real if you're on the other side of things, and they'll support someone, and then that person obviously for their own gain uses their rhetoric, uses that power to become the authoritarian leader. I agree with that. But to me, and this is what we're trying to get at, is just saying these people are fascists or fascist supporters. That's not going to change any of their minds if you're not actually addressing what their concerns are.
None of us disagree with that point, but
Oh,
it's
good.
still important to label it as what it
Okay.
is.
Right.
Like, that's kind
No one disagrees, but if they're fascists. They're fascists. It's not fascist. It's not fascist.
of
Right,
central to
so-
the conversation.
No, wait. No, but wait. This was the central. The thing that got us off on this tangent was again, what. I'm sorry, pondering. What did you say you want us to
You can
call?
call me Josiah.
Josiah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that got us off on this was the tweet that Adam put out, which is that if you're just calling Trump a fascist, okay, what is that? If you don't give any sort of explanation or understanding of why people are vote for Trump. And all you do is you label him a fascist. Obviously, I think that's going to lead people in your audience to assume that people voting for him are voting for him because they want the fascist. And therefore, there's no way to convince those people. There's no way to win those people over in a debate or in a conversation. And the only alternative is through violence.
I agree that it's
Okay.
bad rhetorical strategy, which is I don't do it, but everything you just said is true. People that support Donald Trump do support fascism. They're just too stupid to realize it.
And here it is. This nigga's just fucking stupid. Everybody would just support Trump is support fascism. Fascistic things, taking over a corrupt government or putting somebody in power that's gonna actually fight against a corrupt government. That's fascist. Because you want someone to take the legal means, the legal, the exhaust all your legal means to be in power or to um challenge an election. Taking all the legal ways to do that. You're legally allowed to, as a president, you can fire this person, fire that person. Legally. But that's fascist because you're using the American system to fix the American system. It's not like he's going around saying, "Hey, let's get a bunch of people and like literally fight, like get guns and stuff and fight for it." He's saying, "Hey, let's just exhaust all my legal means." Fascist.
That is absolutely a factual matter.
Okay, so at that point, we're just have to defeat these people through physical combat if we don't
Yeah.
Not
defeat them through
necessarily.
voting.
I think
Yeah.
our institution still
Is
exists
calling
quite
them stupid
strongly,
a good way
but,
to win
like,
them over in a political fight?
Generally, no. That's why I don't usually call them stupid.
Okay, well, you just did.
I did now because we're having a frank conversation. I will have a frank conversation. The way that I appeal to Republicans, you call it empathy. I call it treating people like retarded 4-year-olds. That's how I reach a conservative. I've got to be incredibly patient. I have to be incredibly kind. I've got to pretend. I
Dude,
can't
you're
even
so
pretend I'm talking to my son.
condescending. Look,
It
this
is
is like-
condescending
this is
because they're fucking
exactly what I'm
retarded.
talking
They
about.
don't believe
Yeah.
in vaccines. They don't believe in climate change. They don't believe in science.
Don't believe in vaccines. Who doesn't believe in vaccines? Because I could have swore it was the other side saying that don't trust the vaccine if it comes from Trump. Don't do that. Don't do this. No one says they don't believe in vaccines. They just say, "Hey, I'm not taking a vaccine that just came out like 2 months ago." Like, what are you talking about? And was tested for less than a year. Like, how's, how's that not reasonable? Hey, I ain't sticking that shit in my body. Y'all do what y'all want, but I ain't doing that shit. What? And climate change. They don't believe in climate change. There's no. All right, so climate change is like it's a man-made climate change is the problem. It's like you're saying that, oh, humans, period, just humans are the cause of global climate change. And not that just that. It's just humans in America is the problem with the whole climate issue, which sounds fucking stupid. And they always, and it's been going on for a while. Like everybody's been saying global warming, global cooling, global this, global that. It's the Earth. The Earth's climate's been changing for fucking millions of years, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
They don't believe in academia. They half of
Academia? What? Which part of academia? The academia that says men can be women and women can be men, or the academia that says all white people are racist? That CRT bullshit? No, like what are you talking about?
don't think we went to the fucking moon. They don't think
Who the fuck doesn't think we went to the moon? Now he's just talking about conspiracy theorists and saying that's Trump supporters. Fucking stupid.
the election. How the fuck else am I supposed to treat these people? Yeah, of course they're fucking retards. But yeah, you treat
You see how he is? So of course they're fucking retards because I just painted all Trump supporters in a specific way. So of course the straw man that I just built of a Trump supporter is a fucking retard. This nigga's fucking stupid.
them like that. You be kind, you be patient, you be empathetic, and you do what you can. But at the end of the day, I believe in the things that I do for good reason. And it's not like I'm going to sit here and pretend that me
Destiny, the person who says a woman is not an adult human female. It's the person that says who's saying all this. You believe what you believe. It doesn't make you right.
A conservative have the same factual standing on every single issue we debate. That's insane. It's literally the party of like science denialism. Half these people.
The party of science denialism. What science? Because Dr. Fauci said he's the science.
People think the Earth is 6,000 years old, and
Now he's talking about religious people. Are all Trump supporters religious people? No, are all Trump supporters religious people that think that the Earth is only a couple thousand years old? Like Christians? All Trump supporters aren't Christians. And all Christians don't believe that the Earth was like is only 6,000 years old. Not every Christian believes that. Scientists are Christians. A lot of scientists are Christians. Like, what the fuck is this man talking about?
dinosaurs aren't real. Like,
God damn, he's talking about like this man is so fucking stupid. He just thinks every Trump supporter is the extreme, bro. This man's all the way on the extreme spectrum, the other way on the other side, right? And if you take some, he's got people way on the right, and he's saying that that's what every Trump supporter believes. But if you go on to way on to the left, they just think a bunch of fucking crazy shit. They think that the government should pay for everything, like everybody should have everything for free. What else? What else? Men can give birth and shit. What else? What else do them idiots believe? They believe that I believe a lot of stupid shit. I can't think. But they believe a bunch of stupid shit all the way on the left. Just like all the way on the right, they believe a bunch of fucking ridiculous shit.
how the fuck am I supposed to take them seriously in some kind of scientific or factual sense?
I'm not supposed to take them seriously. The person I just made up. How am I supposed to take that person seriously?
There's also situational rhetoric. Like I guess where I'm confused is like obviously if Hassan, Packman, and Cedar are saying, listen, when you're having a conversation with a conservative or conservative voter, instead of trying to appeal to them and apply some situational empathy, whatever, you should just call them fascist or fascistic supporters. Yeah, that would be incredibly stupid. But again, it's about situational rhetoric. These people are also speaking to an audience much like yourself, right? And so it makes sense that in certain contexts, they would describe the Republican Party as they just genuinely, bluntly understand it. And then when they're face to face with a Republican voter, they may say something else, or they may couch the language or use different rhetoric. I don't think that, number one, I don't think that's hypocritical. Number two, I don't think that that's anything unique to the left or unusual. I'm so confused. To me, I just don't understand what the issue is here. And I honestly don't think that we disagree too much because, again, I think Stephen and I also agree that it would be bad to just vilify wholesale Republican voters
That's what he just fucking did. What are you talking about?
nonstop. But then it seemed like the goalpost was being moved.
Can I just make one point and then
Sure.
we can move to questions?
Well, I need to respond to. What
Well,
Steven said,
you
I
can,
guess.
but let me just make my point real quick. It won't take
Yeah.
long. Destiny, you understand if you have a conversation about black crime, you're going to have to be very sensitive in that conversation because you don't want to create a stereotype, a negative stereotype that
Like, say,
all
legions,
blacks
yeah.
are criminals. Okay, so I think what all I'm saying is like the your response there, someone could look at and say what Destiny is saying is all conservatives are retarded. That would create a stereotype.
But that's not what it could do. That's exactly what the fuck he said. Don't say Adam is too nice right here, okay? That's exactly what the fuck he said. It's not what it could do. It's what he's actually fucking saying.
Of conservatives as being retarded, which I think is unhelpful.
I agree. It is unhelpful that they're retarded.
So
I understand
wait,
what you're saying.
so
Rhetorically,
hold on.
when I-
Let me be clear. Are you saying all conservatives are retarded? Look, I just
If you
or is that
if you support
hyperbolic?
Donald Trump, you either have a mental disability or you need antipsychotics. Yes. If you support Donald Trump,
If you support Joe Biden, you're a fucking idiot. See how that does nothing. If you support Joe Biden, you're an idiot.
There's something.
If you, but if you look at all his policy proposals, then you're a fucking idiot. Like everybody was talking about how great it was that Biden made it what is it, the insulin shot so cheap. But what did he do when he first got in office? He put a halt to that because Trump did it. And everybody praising him for doing it.
Wrong
Look,
with you.
all
Yeah, or you're not
there
American.
there
to
are
me.
plenty
Yeah.
of there are plenty of never Trumpers. There are plenty of conservatives that didn't support Trump. There are plenty of conservatives trying
Sure,
to get him.
and there are probably some conservatives that probably I would agree with more than especially fucking progressives these days. That's possible.
Okay,
sure.
well, you're throwing those conservatives under the bus when you say all
No, hold on.
conservatives
This
are
whole
retarded.
time,
so-
I've explicitly been talking about Donald Trump supporters. When we're talking about supporting Donald Trump, the actions that he's taking, Republicans broadly are science denialists in policy positions, but I'm sure there are some conservatives.
Isn't it? Thanks. All right. So if you agree with supporting the border, if you agree with not spending all our money on fucking other countries, if you agree with what is it, pulling on NATO, if you agree with bringing manufacturing back to America, if you agree with like calming down relations, like hostile relations with other countries, everything that Trump supported, if you agree with all this shit, if you agree with funding HBCUs and shit like that, which Trump did, if you agree with lowering the taxes and all that shit, you're a fucking retard because you agree with what everything you agree with shit that Trump did. If you voted for Trump for any of those reasons, even if you did it for the dumbest reason, right? Because a lot of people they vote when they see shit happening. Like if something happens in a year or something, they be like, ah, I'm voting for him now. So if you saw the gas prices spiking up and you're like, oh, I'm voting for Trump now because my gas is like fucking horrible. It's a simple reason, but still legit. It's like, oh shit. And if you disagree with all the gun shit that Biden's talking about doing, getting rid of AR-15s, oh, it's just shooting a shotgun up in the air, oh, scare a criminal. Woohoo. What you need does the deer have body armor on them? That's why you need a AR-15. If you disagree with that bullshit that Biden's trying to do, you're a fucking retard according to fucking Destiny.
Out there that I can probably break bread with, or we have like major agreements in a lot of places, but they just like low taxes or something. Sure. Again, none of us disagree with the rhetorical strategy, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to call a spade a spade. The reason why I'm able to make any headway when you talk about black crime is because actually I am willing to own uncomfortable positions. Black people do commit more crime than other people in the United States. And you can play the games of like, oh, it's all institutional bias and it's systemic racism and blah, 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 blah. And like, yeah, those things factor into it. But if you're not willing to admit that black people do commit more crime than other races in this country, you can't even get the conversation off the ground. And
Yeah,
people
but you're
see me,
sensitive
especially on
about the
right,
stereotype,
people
though.
see I'm sensitive, but that doesn't keep me from owning the fact. And people on the right appreciate that. They're like,
Well,
wow,
you
Jesse
should be
said some harsh
sensitive about the
truths.
stereotype.
But then as soon as I start criticizing somebody that doesn't believe in dinosaurs or doesn't think climate change is real while fucking Phoenix is literally melting into the fucking earth, like, no, I think at some point,
It's like, where you keep that? Like, this nigga like talk about science. This nigga doesn't go with any of the science. I'm talking about fucking climate change. Venus is going into the middle of the earth, melting into the earth. What does that have to do with like climate change, man-made climate change? Provide me the science that says that humans is making such a dramatic impact in the climate. Point me to that science. What was it like? What is it like? 1,000 parts per million that it was in the past, or some shit like that. Now it's like a couple less, some shit like that. I forgot. I ain't look at that in a while, but it's not that dramatic. Like I think the Earth itself causes more of its own climate change than humans actually do, especially right now.
I agree. You can't be mean to people, and I try to be nice to people. When I go on shows, I'm nice and I'm kind and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean that you can't ever say, like, yeah, listen, if you support Donald Trump, you're kind of supporting a fascist. Maybe that's some behavior that's worth analyzing or worth reflecting on.
This nigga supports Biden, right? Biden was like, fuck the Supreme Court. I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. I know it's gonna get shot down, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And then he did it like 3 times. He did it with the what was it? The moratorium on something. Fuck the fucking the rent moratorium or some shit like that. And then he tried to do it again with guns. He's like, fuck the Supreme Court. That's fascist. That's fascistic. Trying to go over the actual laws. Trying to go over the laws. Not using the laws directly, but directly how they are set up to be used. No. Going over the laws. Saying, fuck this, I'm gonna try it like 50 different ways until, try it 50 different ways just so I can, because it will be granted in the interim, right? And then he's just gonna keep on doing it different ways, come up with lawsuits different ways so he can just have it granted at that time. It's like a spiteful fucking bitch, right? If you have a child with a woman and she says, and she gets you with she puts a restraining order on you or a protective order, you'll lose custody of your child until you go to court. But then she can just do it again, and then you'll lose custody again. And she can just keep doing it like that. That's the same thing Biden is doing. You're using the law, but you're using it in a fucking like a fucking fascistic way. That's what he's doing. That's what Biden's
So-
doing.
Adam is
so-
too often.
Let's
It's
just
just- I just wanna
respond.
say that-
Obligated.
Well, no,
Let-
it's just
let
I
Sage
hate to
go.
I hate to go in the whataboutism range, but just the whole there's been a lot of science denialism on the right historically. I don't think any side gives a shit about science. People just use science and facts when it supports them, and when it doesn't support them. There's a host of science denialism on the left. The left's position broad. There's a bunch of people on the left that believe in this blank slate insanity. There's a bunch of people on the left that do not believe in evolution in terms of that evolution has any effect on people's behavior, especially from a gendered perspective. So
Right.
I don't like the categorization that it's just one side that doesn't believe in science. No
You
one
are
believes in
definitely-
science.
Do you think there are any meaningful
2-second
degrees?
response. Yeah, 2 second response. There are definitely
then
some
closing
things that the left
statements.
gets wrong on science denialism or whatever, I'm sure, but it is not even remotely comparable. They live in different worlds of factual denialism. It's not even close.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sit.
That's it. That's Sitchin Adam. All right. Ah man, yeah, this man. Like when I say this man is fucking stupid, like, and I get it. Like he sounds right because he can talk like this. He'd be like blah 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 blah. That doesn't make you right. You're saying a bunch of fucking stupid shit. All Trump supporters are fucking retarded. I gotta talk to them like children. No, bro, you just built in a straw man of a Trump supporter, and you're saying, hey, that's all Trump supporters, but hey, man,